I wanted to talk a little bit today about the collective consultation requirements in the context of redundancy, which is something that small businesses don't normally have to worry about at all. Normally in a smaller organisation, you're not making enough people redundant at one time to trigger that kind of thing. So consultation would be still meaningful, but would be with individuals instead, consulting with individual employees about their proposed redundancy, about selection, that kind of thing. But there are some specific requirements that are now starting to apply to some small businesses as well that don't normally. And with collective consultation, if you're making 20 or you're proposing to make 20 or more people redundant at the same establishment in any 90-day period, so it doesn't actually have to be all at once, in any 90-day period, then you have collective consultation obligations that you need to be aware of and need to fulfil. It doesn't need to be scary. It just means that you have to start consultation at least 30 days before the dismissals will take effect. And it means that you need to consult with representatives. So not just with individuals themselves, you need some representatives. So either these could be trade union representatives if you have those, or you might need to conduct a simple kind of election process and facilitate that. You have to consult about some specific things, how to avoid dismissals, how to reduce the number of dismissals, and how to mitigate the consequences of those dismissals. But actually in practice, those are likely to be things you're kind of consulting about anyway in the context of redundancy. You'd be looking at selection, you'd be looking at alternatives to reduce the number of dismissals. So it doesn't need to be anything outside what you would hope to be doing anyway. It's just a case of making sure you start it in good time, that you have representatives and you meet those separate requirements. And there's also a requirement to notify the Secretary of State on a specific form, HR1, if you're making collective redundancies. So they're just the basics. It's best to take advice if you're a small business and you think you might be making that number of redundancies in a 90-day period. Obviously, you need to look ahead about what you're going to be doing in the future as well, because 90 days is a fairly lengthy period, so you can't just do it in chunks. There might be sort of 20 more over that period. So take some advice, make sure you tick those boxes, meet those requirements, and don't be kind of put off or scared by the fact that you have an additional requirement just because of the numbers. They can still be quite straightforward. It doesn't have to take forever. It's just about mitigating your risks and making sure you don't accidentally slip up.